Hey everybody, welcome to another chapter of the book of Sean. It's good to see you. I'm excited about our show tonight. We all know that it is Father's Day weekend coming up, and many of us will be thinking about our dads, and those of us who did not grow up with our dads, we will be thinking about the men that loved us and raised us, in spite of the fact that the one that gave us life may not have been around. My guest tonight, Baron, is here. He has a very interesting story, a powerful story with respect to his dad, his father, and their journey together. I cannot wait to listen to his heart and to hear how this journey of trying to be connected to and have a relationship with a father who is not always available, right? Not always present. And then you lose your dad. And how do you manage the resentment with the love, with the guilt? I mean, it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? So for all of you out there who got young men or men in your lives who don't have dads or lost their dads, just know it's a complicated situation, all right? Give us a little grace, because sometimes it's hard to navigate your way through the milky malaise of how you feel about the man who you should be loving, but you're not quite sure if it's all the way love. And yet it is. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Barry's going to walk us through that. I can't wait to talk to him. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean. And, as always, we start with headlines, and I got some headlines for you today. All right, let's get started. Play the bumper, Hailey. So, there's been a bipartisan agreement on guns in this country, and thank God for that, right? Thank God for that. I just don't understand why it took 19 children being murdered in Uvalde, Texas to come up with it. I don't know why it took this long to come up with a bipartisan agreement for Republicans and Democrats in the Senate to think that we should probably do something about guns in this country. I've been doing a bunch of stories on this because I just think that this is a real problem. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just told you that an 11-year-old and a 14-year-old broke into a gun store and stole 22 guns. 11 and 14. So thank God that there's some sort of bipartisan agreement going on. You know, but here's the part I don't understand, all right? Baron, you think about this, 2-3, you think about this too. I mean, 20 children dying in Newtown wasn't enough for a bipartisan agreement? You follow what I'm saying? The massacre in Parkland High School, that wasn't enough for a bipartisan agreement? The mass shooting in Las Vegas, that wasn't enough? The people killed at Mother Emanuel AME Church in South Carolina, that wasn't enough when 8 people got killed? I don't understand this. So you mean to tell me that the 10 people that killed in Buffalo, the 10 black people that killed in the store in Buffalo, that wasn't enough? So we had to go through all of that and then ultimately get to 19 kids killed in Uvalde, Texas for the Senate to finally decide that they should have a bipartisan agreement. And it just goes to show you, all right, if you're paying attention, it just goes to show you that the senators are not motivated by the death of people. Because if they were motivated by the death of people, this would have been done when the mass shooting happened in Parkland and Newtown and Las Vegas and go down the list. It goes to show you that they're motivated by public pressure. There's more public pressure on them right now. That's why they're doing this. Not because they care about the death of innocents. And I might even wager to think or to suspect the death of children. And what does it say about a country when your representatives and your senators won't coalesce to come up with agreement unless we get to the place where you have 19 children being slaughtered and massacred in Texas? It's amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing to me. So listen, when it's all said and done, these 10 Republican senators and these 10 Republican, Democrats and Republicans rather, they are only moving forward because you make them do it. And they are only on the train to make legislation come to light because you made them do it. Which allows me to say this. Maybe we would have had legislation a long time ago, not because the Republicans and the Democrats wanted to do it, but because the American people wanted it to happen. So yes, the Republicans and the Democrats are late on this issue, but the truth of the matter is so are we. Because it's not enough to be upset about it. It has to get to the place where we're willing to make a phone call or send an email. So I'm hoping that the American people will stay awake with respect to this. We'll see what happens with this bipartisan agreement, okay? Because bipartisan agreement does not mean legislation, people. They ain't voted on nothing yet. Y'all keep the pressure up. That's the only way it's going to happen. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Bill Barr. All right? Come on, people. Let's talk about Bill Barr. Have you guys been watching the Select Committee on January 6th on TV? It's must-see TV in my house, okay? I'm taping it. That's how riveting it is for me. Listen, let's talk about it. And if you've been watching, you know one of the main witnesses for that committee has been former Attorney General Bill Barr, who upon the aftermath of the 2020 election, worried that former President Donald Trump had become detached from reality. Okay? What I'm trying to figure out, first of all, is why did it take Bill Barr that long to figure out that Donald Trump was detached from reality? Because a lot of us knew it in 2016. So he just miraculously discovered it in 2020 after the election. But it says something about you if your Attorney General thinks you're unhinged at the close of the election. Barr was so concerned that Trump was detached from reality that he went on to say all kinds of things about what Trump was doing. And we've seen it all through the video that we're watching through the January 6th committee, which is why I say is must-see TV, because you get to see what these people were really thinking and saying behind closed doors. They come out in the media and say one thing, right? But behind closed doors, they're saying something else. Bill Barr was apparently saying that a lot of what Donald Trump was perpetrating before the public was nonsense and crazy stuff. But here's what Bill Barr fails to realize. You ready for this? That almost everything that came out of Donald Trump's mouth was nonsense and crazy stuff. There was no point in his 4 years when he was not full of nonsense and craziness. At no point. There was no rational level set or plateau for this man's presidency. I'm just trying to figure out why it took Bill Barr 4 years to figure out that the man he was working for, or at least the 2 years, because Bill Barr came on after Jeff Sessions, that Donald Trump had deep problems, was detached from reality. Donald Trump being crazy didn't just manifest itself at the end of the election. This country, check this out, this country went through an abusive relationship with its president for 4 years. For 4 years, this country was lied to and manipulated and undermined by its president for 4 years. And America has been in a psychologically, emotionally, politically abusive relationship for 4 years. Here's why I'm saying this. It's no wonder then we come out of this presidency and people are beating the hell out of each other on airplanes. Because when you come through trauma, you manifest the trauma that you come through. Are you with me? We went through 4 years of trauma with this president, and then it is no wonder then that people on TikTok licking toilets. Trauma. Trauma will manifest itself in a lot of different ways. And it's no wonder, therefore, as well, I would make the case that after 4 years of trauma, that we have now a substantial rise in mass shootings. Trauma. 4 years of it. And for some of us who are black and brown, it's been more like 400 years of it. But you know, we won't go there right now. Listen, man, I'm glad the truth is coming out about what Donald Trump really did, and I invite you to watch it, even if you don't necessarily care about politics. I invite you to watch it because you deserve to know what really happened in this country on January 6, 2020. Here's another reason I want you to watch it. I want you to watch it because Jesus said it best, and I like Jesus. You know what he said? Ye shall know the truth. And guess what? The truth will make you free. How about that? All right, let me do a couple more before I bring up Barron. I can't wait to talk to him, all right? I can't wait to talk to Barron. So, speaking of gun violence, right, I just did a story about a bipartisan agreement. Did you guys hear about the gunman who attacked the summer camp? Did you guys hear about that? So, on Monday, the police shot and killed a man who came armed with a handgun, and then he entered a summer camp in Duncanville, Texas. Once again, back in Texas, the police exchanged gunfire with the suspect Brandon Ned in a field house where the children were playing, and the gunman was subsequently killed. That's the gunman right there. I was kind of hoping he wouldn't look like that. You know why, but there he is. And it just goes to show you that the craziness when it comes to guns ain't limited to white folks. No, it's not. There's something going on in this country where black, brown, white, everybody is turning to guns. And here's the part of it that I don't understand. Baron, you tell me what you think about this. What I don't understand is why all these crazy people trying to kill children? Can somebody explain this to me? Can somebody explain to me why all the mass gunmen recently rushing to some school or to some summer camp to kill children? What have children done to these people? You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody should be shot or anybody should be killed. But least of all, children. I mean, you're trying to get back into society, and your way of doing it, or you trying to whatever you're trying to manifest in your concocted mind, you think the best way to do that is to kill children? And this guy, Brandon Ned, went to a summer camp with a handgun and was more than likely going to kill some kids, except that the police took him out. And thank God the police didn't take an hour this time to decide that they should probably take this guy out. You know what I'm saying? Thank God whatever lessons were learned in Uvalde, Texas were applied in Duncanville, Texas. Because if they had given this guy an hour with a handgun in a gym, he probably would have done significant damage and caused significant death. And thank God none of the kids were injured or hurt, just devastated emotionally by having to go through this. You go to summer camp as a 9, 13, 12-year-old, and then in the middle of the day, now you being evacuated because somebody's there to shoot up the building? And I want to come back to this issue before I let this go. What is going on in this country where people are obsessed with killing children? Children. Again, I don't think anybody should be killed or slaughtered, but there's probably a better list of people, you know what I'm saying, who might need to come to their demise. So, children? And listen, we have to stop calling these people gunmen when they go after kids, okay? We got to start calling them cowards, because that's what you are. If you go into a damn school and you shoot up a school, or you go into a gym and you trying to kill kids, you ain't no gunman, you a coward. Because you feel big about yourself now? You done slaughtered some 9-year-olds, you done shot at an 11-year-old, and now you big man. You a big man now. You done showed the world something. You done shot up some elementary school kids. You're a coward. That's what you are. And we need to treat them like exactly we need to call them what they are and treat them in the way that they deserve. Okay? Police went into this gym and they exchanged gunfire with Mr. Brandon, and subsequently he was killed. And this might sound harsh because you guys know I'm a love guy. I'm warm. I love people. I rap people with compassion. But listen, this guy was killed by the police. And I'm going to say, and you heard it from me, and I'm glad he was. Because that's exactly what should happen to you when you go into a gym and you want to kill some kids. Okay? Now, I saw he looked like he was an African American, but killing kids ain't African. That ain't what Africans do. We don't hurt kids, and we don't hurt the elders. Let me get off this before I start cussing. I'm trying to be holy. I got Barrett here tonight. I'm trying to keep my salvation. Here's my last story before I bring up my great guest. Let's talk about Netflix real quick, because this is crazy too. So apparently Netflix is, you guys know that Netflix had during the pandemic, the very popular Squid Games, right? Squid Games, the series Squid Games. So apparently Netflix wants to turn this into a reality TV show. They want to take the fictional South Korean series where contestants compete in schoolyard games for a lot of money. And those games are very dangerous, and they want to turn it into a reality TV show. Because you do realize that the original Squid Games was not reality TV. It was fictional. And Netflix thinks that it's a good idea to make this a reality TV show. Here's what Netflix did. Netflix is going to offer the largest amount of money ever offered in any reality TV game or show. $4.6 million. So you can win $4.6 million if you're willing to participate in the Netflix reality TV show Squid Games. But here's the caveat. I'm assuming that these games won't be chess. I'm assuming y'all won't be playing checkers for this. Because remember the original show where you had to play dangerous games that could cost you your life. And I'm sure there are going to be a bunch of people who sign up for this reality TV show because all they're going to hear is $4.6 million. You say $4.6 million, and people are going to be rushing to the door. Where can I sign up? It amazes me what people will do for green paper. That's all it is, green paper. You willing to put your life on the line, your body on the line for green paper? Yeah, that's the America that we live in. People are going to rush to be a part of the Netflix reality TV show, Squid Games. So anyway, let me leave this alone. But I'll leave it with this. Netflix, I know you're losing market share, and I know, people, you're losing subscriptions, and I know you guys are trying to pull yourselves out of the deep water, but this ain't the way to do it. Even if this show is very popular, it still ain't the way to do it. Even if you get all the market share back and 90 million people watch this show, it still ain't the way to do it. Because it's not decent, and it's not orderly, and it's not ethical, and it's not moral to show us people who will do anything for money, who will risk their life and limb and decency and dignity for money. You shouldn't be showing us that. But you are. And the tragedy is, we're all probably going to watch. All right. Let me move on. Got to take this break. When I come back, my guest, Baron, is here. We're going to talk about his dad, Father's Day, his journey. Can't wait to talk to him. We'll be right back, everybody. Don't go nowhere. Get you some pie. Welcome back, everybody. So, listen, Father's Day is coming up, and we all have fathers. It's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? You don't get here without your dad. Contrary to what some people would like to think, you got to have a dad. Your father is here. Your father's a part of your life, rather. And that means that you have a journey with him, a story with him, some ups and downs with him. And not all fathers are the same. Not all sons are the same. None of us are the same. I want to bring to you tonight, introduce you to my dear brother, Baron, who has a very interesting story with his dad, and one that I think a lot of people can relate to and learn from. Welcome to the show tonight, Baron. Hey, Baron.
Hey, Dr. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for that smile. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your energy, your spirit, your patience, all of that, man. I'm excited to talk to you. If you don't mind, I'd like to get right to the heart of the matter and ask you this question. What was your father like as a person?
What was my father like as a person?
Yes.
He's lively, exuberant. He loves women. As a person, he's lively, exuberant, and he loved women.
Okay. When you say loved women, you got to go into that a little bit because that was interesting. What do you mean? What do you mean he loved women?
Meaning that I am the oldest of 7, and out of that, 2 of us have the same mom.
Okay. Oh, so he had complicated relationships with women, and as you suggest, he liked the company of women. He liked the presence of women. Nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. But I'm gonna ask the question again because part of my work with you tonight is to get you to process your dad at a deeper level, right? So I'm gonna ask you again. What was your father like as a person? What was he like emotionally, psychologically?
He was not very available emotionally with me. He tried, but it wasn't really a part of. My father was more. He was more into keeping what he called his business or his feelings to himself. What he could express easily was anger. But he could also flip and be extremely loving on the other side. You didn't always know what you were going to get.
That was rich. Thank you for that, because the second time around gives us a much better sense of who you had to live with and deal with and process and bear and understand, right? So that was really rich. Tell me this, though. How much do you know about your dad prior to you even coming onto the scene? What do you know about his life, how he was raised?
Um, my father dealt with abandonment issues. He grew up in the South, not always with his family, but um, with other. He didn't grow up living in a house with his mom and dad. He grew up living with other family members. His grandmother like raised him.
Mm.
So he had himself abandonment issues.
Yeah, listen. That's exactly why I asked the question, because your dad sounds like the classic case of someone who was trying to do something that was never done for him, trying to be something that was never nobody ever tried to be for him. And often when we try to father or parent, but we've not been fathered or parented, right? We end up with all these sort of crazy ways of trying to do it, and we ultimately turn it into a reflection of how we feel about our own journey and not about how we feel about the kid. Which makes me ask you this question. How did you feel being around him most of the time? How did he make you feel?
I loved being around my father. But for the most part, I liked being around him in small increments because I could control that better. I could control that more. Um, but I loved his energy, and I loved being around him.
Hmm. Now, you do realize that's a very contradictory response, right? So on the one hand, you're saying that he made you feel unloved, right? And not as affirmed as you would have wanted. But on the other hand, there are things about him that you loved being around. What were those things?
He's very jovial. He's exuberant. He loves music. He likes to dance. All like he's very live. He was very lively.
Mm.
I love those things about him.
Listen, it's such an interesting conversation. I hope you get the sense of what I'm trying to do. It's really to show how complicated this relationship is, right?
Oh,
Like, right?
very.
It because someone from the outside listening in says, "How can you love to be around someone who makes you feel unloved?" Answer
Say it
that.
again.
Someone from the outside would ask, "How can you love being around someone who makes you feel unloved?"
It's something about there's something about wanting and desiring the love of your parent. I didn't
Yes.
feel like, yeah, and it didn't I didn't feel unloved. I just didn't feel I felt like he could go further. He could love more. And maybe the love that he didn't feel growing up, maybe he could show that to me. I kind of wanted him I felt like I could watch him and I knew that he could be, like he had the ability to be loving. He just really didn't exercise it often and didn't exercise it in a way that was consistent.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the word, right? It was not a consistent deposit of love and affection and affirmation that you probably wanted when you were a kid,
Right.
that you didn't get, and yet at the same time he was able to inconsistently probably manifest positive things that you did want to be around and you did want to affirm. Which again, it points to how complicated this relationship is. Now, let's peel back the onion because I want everybody to understand that we're not talking about your father in the present sense because your father passed away. Talk about that.
Um, well, that's my father actually died. He just died on Christmas Day. He just died on Christmas Day, and we had his funeral on New Year's Eve.
Mm.
Um, and Father's Day is Sunday. His birthday is the 26th of this month. Um, yeah, it's just all those feelings of like missing him and just yeah, just missing him and just knowing that this time is final and that I won't get the opportunity to ever to see or or talk to him again.
And how do you feel about that?
Um, the last year of my father's life, he and I became, we talked a whole lot more. Um, and he wanted to talk to me all the time because he felt like his life was leaving. Um, so it's just how that makes me feel now that knowing that every Christmas that comes, that it'll be a constant reminder of him no longer being here. Even the New Year, New Year's Eve, when we had his funeral, it's still a reminder. The fact that it's his birthday and it's Father's Day, it's an overwhelming kind of feeling. And it kind of feels like, I felt no one can control death, but I felt like, I felt like my father, he was abandoned, and I felt like now you are abandoning me. And
But Baron, I'm not being rude, but I'm doing my work tonight. And how do you feel about that? Because here's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing that in a similar fashion, how you've represented how he would be, you're manifesting some of the same, and that is you're giving me a story, you're giving me the intellectual, right? But climb down in your heart. Climb down in your heart. How does it make you feel that that relationship is sealed? That there is a barrier between you and your dad that cannot be overcome in most instances until you see him on the other side, and that you're going to wake up on Father's Day, and you're going to be, and I'm the same way, by the way, you're going to be a fatherless child. How does that make you feel?
it
That's it. No, no, no. Don't fight that. Let that. That's it. That's it right there. Don't fight that. What's happening?
yeah, that's how it makes me feel. I'm missing my father, so it makes me feel it's an overwhelming feeling of just like kind of like being alone, and it's just an overwhelming feeling of sadness, knowing that my dad is not going to be here on Father's Day, and then knowing that his birthday is just a few days it's just a few days later. Yeah, that's Dr. Sean. Yeah. That's a little bit.
Yeah. No, no,
Uh,
no, no. Barry, hold on. Don't fight that. Let that come up. You're strong enough to let that out. You're stronger. You are man enough and strong enough to let that out. And,
yeah,
and what you're doing right now is the gift that you're giving. It's a gift you're giving to yourself. You got to allow yourself to feel. You got to let yourself feel what you feel. You follow me?
yeah,
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Because that's the beginning of being able to reconcile where you are in your life and in this journey, what you're doing right now. You're strong enough. You can handle that. Some tears ain't going to break you. Tears ain't going to tear you down. When this interview is over, you'll wipe them tears off, you'll square your shoulders up, and you'll get back in the fight. But for right now, that's what you need to do. Yeah. Listen. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna take a break, everybody. And when I come back, I got some more questions. There's a little more to the story that we're gonna discover. And then I want to pour into his life, okay? Because it's complicated. Yes, it is. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. I'm talking to my dear brother Baron, and I like him already. Baron, listen, man. So let me ask you this question: do you have any children?
no, I don't have children.
Now, that look on your face was like, hell no. What was
That's
that?
that's the
What was that look you just gave me?
that's the way I felt, Dr. Sean. Hell no.
Tell me, I get it. Tell me why. Like, why are you so adverse to having children?
I think it's from a little boy. I have never wanted kids from a little boy. I love the fact that I have siblings and that I am a big brother to them. And for a while, I taught school, so I was able to be being a teacher is like being a second parent. not exactly, but you have their kids like for a long time. I'm just really good on, I'm love to mentor kids. But as far as taking them home and keeping them home and yeah, Dr. Sean, I kept my no. I'm good on the, they can come visit. I love that. I have nephews, love it.
You're like they can come visit, but they gotta go home.
I don't know. Yeah.
So okay, so I'm curious. So let me push this a little bit. So you've never really wanted to have, your own little girl, your own little boy. It's just never been a part of who you experience yourself to be.
Truthfully, for about 5 minutes, I wanted a daughter.
Is that because you're afraid of being like your dad at all? Is there anything to do with that?
Maybe when I was younger, that was the initial reason. And then just as I got older, what I enjoy in my life is the freedom to do what I choose without being responsible 24/7 for someone else's livelihood and for their life.
Ooh, which is so interesting. I just had an aha moment. Normally the guest has the aha moment, but I just had one. Which where you are right now, and I mean no disrespect when I say this, where you are right now probably should have been where your father was at a certain stage of his life.
Oh, absolutely.
Talk about that. Talk about that.
Absolutely. If my father would have thought, why I said is that why I opened with my father loves women. He absolutely loves women. He doesn't. He didn't necessarily love or like that the women yielded children. Like,
he liked sex. He didn't like the consequences of sex.
there you go. I didn't know how far, like how, yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah. So had he thought about the consequences of sex and and like having children, I think that maybe he would have thought the same things that I'm thinking now as far as having children.
It's so interesting because on a certain level, you've learned some of the lessons your father unwittingly taught you, which is to be clear about what level of responsibility you're willing to have, right? And not to dissimulate about that, to be honest and straightforward. Because tonight, I totally experienced you as being very clear about what you want, what you don't want. And again, that's one of the lessons that he taught you in a very indirect way. To me, that's powerful because we can learn as much from I'll put it this way, a negative example as we can from a positive example, right? And at the very
Absolutely.
least, your dad has given you the ability to have clarity about your willingness to be responsible. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because I'm running out of time. If your dad was here tonight, what would you want to say to him?
My father is very big into not looking back. If you try to have a conversation with him about something in the past, he will gladly let you know that that's in the past. We got to move forward now. So the only thing that I would want to let him know now is that
No, stop. I got to stop you, and I'm not being rude, because I'm not going to let you answer this question in the context of what he would be willing to hear.
Okay.
No. No. I want to hear what you would really want to say, whether it's about the past, whether he could hear it or not, right? So let's assume for this experiment, I'm your dad. I'm the embodiment of your dad. And I'm willing to hear anything that you want to say to me. Whatever it is, give it to me.
All right. Well, I just wish that as a kid that it was just as important to you to raise your children and to pour into us and to pour into me whatever lessons that you've learned, and not just think that we're here. If I need to call you, you're available to talk to. But basically, I'm kind of in this world and maneuvering in this world on my own. It would have been I believe it would have been a lot easier. Maybe I wouldn't have abandonment issues if you wouldn't have abandoned me. I don't know. Yeah.
So you wanted me to be there. You wanted me as your dad to acknowledge you, to affirm you, not to abandon you, and not to leave you by yourself to figure this out.
Right. And consistently, on a consistent basis, not to pop in and to pop out. Like on a consistent basis. I think it is very hard for me to, as an adult, to trust people and to believe that they're really going to be around forever, because the man that I love the most, or was not.
Yeah. You know, Brad, I really like you. I like your heart and your spirit. I'm out of time, but I want to say this to you, okay? And here's what I want to say. I started this conversation with you by talking about, at least in part, how your dad was raised, what he went through, right? And what I want you to know is that your father was broken before you got him. Broken before you got him. Before he ever laid eyes on you, he was already broken. He was already being destroyed on the inside. So the man that you got was probably not the man he wanted to be. But it was the only kind of man he knew how to present to the world. And so my invitation to you, and I love tonight your honesty, I love tonight how clear you've been, but my invitation to you tonight is to forgive him on the basis of what he didn't know how to be or do because of what he went through. And when someone is already suffering before they make you suffer, you begin to understand your own suffering differently. And I pray that on this Father's Day, that as you commune with his spirit, that as you sit with his spirit and his memory, that you will get closer to a place of forgiveness where you say, I don't excuse what you didn't do, right? I don't excuse what you didn't bring to the table, but I forgive you for being broken. I forgive you for being the version of yourself that you could only manifest having that kind of journey. And I hope and pray that this Father's Day will be a time of forgiveness for you as you really struggled with that. I hope you've gotten something out of being here tonight. I got something out of being around you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Sean, and I absolutely have. Thank you very much.
That's good. That's good. All right, listen, everybody. When we come back, I'm going to say a little more about this. We're going to do some Ask Dr. Sean, but powerful, right? Powerful and complicated, because that's how life is. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. You know, Barron is a very interesting case of how it is we can love someone and resent them at the same time. How we can honor someone and be completely angry with them about what they couldn't give us and couldn't be. But I'm hopeful for him. And part of it is what I saw tonight. And that is, if you remember right before we took the break, he was able to emote. He was able to let himself feel. He was able to allow himself to express his disappointment and his loneliness and how the absence of his dad affects him. That's important, because the only way to go through something is to go forward. And the only way to go forward is to face how you feel. As long as you run from how you feel, you will never get the blessing or the benefit or the liberation that you deserve. And sometimes you got to sit in the sadness just long enough to taste your own tears. And then remember that after the crying is over, you're okay. You got more living to do. Get back on your feet, you dust your shoulders off, you stick your chest out, you lift your head up, and you go forward. Father's Day won't be easy for him, as I'm sure Father's Day may not be easy for some of you. And I pray as much that as he moves to forgiveness, you will move to either honor your father or to forgive your father. But in either case, the choice is yours, and what you do with the memory is up to you. All right, let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. Play the bumper, Hiley. You guys always send me amazing videos. Listen, you guys are amazing with these videos. And this one we're about to watch is no different. Let's take a look at it.
Hi, Dr. Sean. My name is Jalea Coleman. I am from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I recently just moved to a new city and I decided, hey, I want to start dating again. I'm a single mother. I'm 35, about to be 36. The issue is I have 3 kids, twins that are 16 and a younger one who is 12. When is a good time to introduce someone that I'm dating to my kids? I don't want to do it too early, but I also don't want to do it too late. So when is a good time to do that?
Great question. Thank you for that. You have a great smile too, by the way. I like people with great smiles, but you and you, my sister, have a great smile. This is an important question. I get asked this a lot, and so here's the first part of my answer relates to before you even start dating. What I would say, because your kids are 16 and 12, that you should probably start having conversations with them now about the prospect of you starting to date again, and you're not getting their permission, okay? Because they don't get a vote. But what you are doing is respecting them enough to give them the information before they need to apply it. All right? And they're gonna give you their opinions, right? Mom, you don't need to. Oh, mom, whatever it is. And you hear that, but what you're showing them is that I respect you and our love, our bond enough to make sure that you are a part of my process to get back out there. So that it's not sprung on them. They already know mom is looking. They already know mom is interested. So when you eventually introduce them to somebody, the ground has been prepared for them to receive the seed of your love life. Too many single people out there who have older children or children at all who want to get back out there and dating. We just introduce them to somebody. No, you got to prepare the kid. Talk about how you feel. Talk about, that you want to have, an adult relationship. And what you can also do is use it as an opportunity to teach them as boys how they should be men with women. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to say, okay, what do you think mom should be looking for? Ask them that. And just listen to their answers. Listen to their answers. And it's an opportunity for you to correct some of the things that they picked up from wherever they've gotten it from. Now, here's what I would say directly to answer your question. I would never introduce anybody to anybody that I was dating, my kids to anybody I was dating, until at least 1 or 2 months. At least, you got to get past the first 2 or 3 months before you start bringing somebody around, all right? Okay? And you got to do that not for the kids, but for your own sanity. So you don't go jumping off into the deep end and giving someone access to the secret, sacred parts of your life, and you've only known them a month. You don't know this person. He could be a serial killer, right? He could be a financial predator. He could be a molester. You follow what I'm saying? So before you even introduce them to your prized possessions, your children, make sure that your spirit is in agreement with who and what they are. Make sure that you're comfortable. Make sure you've gotten to know them. So anything less than a month to me is crazy. Anything less than a month is crazy. And anything more than, 4 to 5 months is probably too long. I think the sweet spot is 2-3 months. For me, it's more 3 months, right? Because you date and you go around doing your little thing and you love and you kissy, all that. And then about 3 months, you kind of know after 3 months. Is he reliable? Is he trustworthy? Does he lie? How he makes you feel? His views on children. You know that by 3 months, okay? And I say about 3 months, you decide, yeah, I'm going to introduce you, to my sons, okay? But you've already prepared your sons for the introduction, and more importantly, you've prepared them to understand that you are their mother, but you're also a woman. And as a woman, you finish the rest of the sentence. Let's take a break. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. So let's do some more Ask Dr. Sean, people. I didn't even say play the bumper, Hiley. Hiley played it. Thank you, Hiley. Anyway, so someone DM'd me this question. 3 women at my boyfriend's company have accused him of sexual misconduct. He claims that they are retaliating against him because he did not give them good performance reviews. I have known him for 7 years, and I have never seen him disrespect a woman. Should I take their claims as a red flag, or just trust the person that he appears to be when we are together? Oh, interesting question. So here's my first part of my answer, that being this. You do realize that a person can be one way with you and another way when you're not around? That people do have that duplicity and complexity and contradiction running in all of us? How many people said to, pick a serial killer? He was so nice. He was a great neighbor. Only to discover that, when he wasn't being a neighbor, he was eating up people's bodies. So people can manifest different sides of who they are. People can compartmentalize their lives. They can bifurcate, chop themselves up emotionally, and give you one thing and give the world something else. Now, I'm not saying that he did it. I'm just saying that 3 women said that he did. And I'm not saying that it's not a part of whatever performance review that he didn't give them, but I'm saying a lot of men who hurt women kind of make the same argument, that they're just retaliating against something that I did. I don't know if you should take it as a red flag or not, but I think you should take it as a possibility that you may not know everything you think you know about him. And I think you should keep your eyes open. I think you should do more looking and more discerning, because when 3 women say something, right, you should probably take that as, an opportunity to see if this person that you've known for 7 years is the person that you've known for 7 years. You follow what I'm saying? I'm not saying that women don't lie, because human beings lie. Women lie, men lie, children lie, old people lie. Human beings lie. I'm not calling any of these women liars. I'm saying that there is a distinct possibility that they may be. As much as there is a distinct possibility that they might be telling you the truth. In which case, I say it again, open your eyes and be more discerning and be aware of whatever patterns and behaviors that you thought were not at place. You may open your eyes and realize, you know what? I see some things. Or you may discover that, you don't. See, whenever people are backed up in a difficult situation, whether they're accused of something or whether they lose something or whether something falls apart, it is an opportunity for the person who loves them to monitor, to watch, and to understand them differently. And I think you would be crazy after 3 women have said that he has sexually harassed or had misconduct with them. I think you'd be crazy just to ignore it. You owe yourself the responsibility and the opportunity to at least cut on your discernment. And you may discover, as I suggested, everything is all right. Or you may discover that everything is not as all right as you thought it was. But in either case, this relationship is going to enter into a very different season. That's what I'm trying to prepare you for. Whether it's true or false, what you need to understand and reconcile yourself to the fact is that things probably won't be the same. Because now you've heard, now you know, and now it might be true. That's what you need to prepare yourself for. All right, we got another video? Let's do another video. Play that one.
Hello, Dr. Shine. My name is Derek Robertson from Los Angeles, California. I have a question. What's the best way to ask someone for help? Do you have any advice?
Well, I do. It's kind of what I do for a living. It depends on the help, right? So if you're asking somebody for financial help, that's very different from asking someone to help you move your furniture. These are 2 different kinds of help. But what I always say, and what I try to practice, is I try to be as direct as I possibly can. I'm usually a very direct person, right? And so if I need help, I'm going to let you know. But the secret is, when I need help, what I try to do is also give you the narrative, the story, not just the conclusion. Too many people come with the ask. I need $20. I need $100. I need you to do this. Drive me here. And what they don't give the person that they're asking enough information to have empathy for what they're asking for. People are much more possible to line up with what you're asking them to do when they understand and have a feeling for what it is you need. And when you deny people the whole story or more of the story, then they're responding only to the request and not to the journey of the person who is asking the request. So I would say whenever you're going to ask someone for help, always give them information that allows them to line up with emotionally with what you need, so they can put the ask in its proper context. You're not just asking something from me. You're asking me to support you as you journey and travel through this moment in your life. People are much more likely to do that than they are to give you $100 without the rest of the story. Okay? Yeah, man. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank Baron for being here. Thank all of you who are going to celebrate with your dads and be a part of that journey. Remember, forgive the people who hurt you, because most of us were broken when you got us, okay? Listen, man, enjoy yourselves. Y'all be good to each other. And remember, I love you. There ain't nothing you can do about it. How about that?